Now they are looking at a couple of big name free agent position players, the Red Sox are, and now there's some hesitancy. Nolan Arenado wants to go to the Red Sox. That would be a trade. Alex Bregman, free agent. There's been all kinds of talk. I don't know what Bregman's market is outside of the Red Sox. Cora wants him. Sounds like the front office does not. And now there's a pause on the Bregman talks because the Red Sox might punt that for this year and go after a big fish in next year's free agency. Because now there are multiple reports coming out that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. wants to play for the Red Sox. He's a free agent in 2026, and he is a hulking right-handed power hitter that you can stick in the middle of the order, which is exactly what the Red Sox need right now. Right now, they need it. And you're trying to kind of make it up in the aggregate with someone like Arenado or Bregman to couple with Trevor Story, who's never healthy for a whole year. I think that's a pipe dream. And I love Arenado as a player. I just don't think he's that player anymore. And I don't think giving up Tristan Casas for that is the right move. And Bregman, his numbers are going down and he's on the wrong side of 30 and you're asking him to play a different position. It sounds a lot like Trevor Story. And Trevor Story did not have an injury history before he got to the Red Sox. Alex Bregman does not have an injury history, but that's the gamble you take when you go after 30, right? Vlad Guerrero Jr., different story. Now, the problem is you're asking the Red Sox fans to wait again and wait another year. The benefit, though, is he's still an all-star caliber player, has made the all-star game every year from 2021 on. And so pretty much all his full seasons with Toronto. And he's going to be entering his prime. He'll be 26 years old as he hits free agency next year. And last year, he went back to looking like an MVP candidate. He finished 6th in MVP voting in 2024. I mean, in a lot of ways, Vlad Jr. is a perfect addition to the Red Sox and exactly what this Red Sox team needs, both short-term and long-term. The only issue that I can find with it is, you got to wait another year, and you are going to have to spend a ton of money, which the Red Sox talk a big game now. They'll say, oh, yeah, we'll just wait for Vlad Jr. in free agency, and then his price tag is going to be too high. We've seen this game before. So that's one of them. But the other thing is, you've talked all offseason about going out and getting X guy and turning Rafi Devers into a first baseman full-time or a DH full-time and not having that positional versatility. Will you bring in Vlad Jr.? It's the same story. And now you got two guys who are that prototype that you aren't going to trust in the infield or in the rangy parts of the infield, right? Third base. And you're going to want to move them, both of them, to DH/first base. And Vlad Guerrero is still a good first baseman defensively now. Toronto's tried him out at third base a couple of times the last 2 years. In fact, he played like 20 games over the last 2 years at third base, and he just doesn't have that range. It's like when Miggy Cabrera was playing third base for Detroit when they had Prince Fielder at first. It just doesn't work. But he is a pretty good first baseman. In fact, he's won a Gold Glove at first base. Like, he is someone who can work at first base. But can he work at first base in 3 years? Because I don't know. I think Rafi is doing a good job at third base right now, a good enough job. But I don't think he does that in 2 years. At age, what would he be then? 29, I think. I got to do my math here. 29 going on 30 in 2 years. Yeah, he came up at age 20 in 2017, I think. I think that's right. So he's my age. But you're going to run into that problem where they're both going to be on big time contracts. Vlad Guerrero, 8 to 10 years. Devers will have 8 years left on his contract that he signed a couple years ago. But the Red Sox fan in me gets butterflies thinking about those two in the middle of the order. because I grew up on David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez. And it's not crazy to think of those two guys together in the lineup as David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez. You look at their head-to-head, their stat comparison since they were both in the league. So from 2019 on, and it's very similar, man. Guerrero's got a better WAR by 0.2. He's played 18 more games. He has like 15 more hits. Devers has 9 more homers. Devers has 35 more RBI. Like their averages are both in the high 280s. Their OBP both above 350. They're both slugging over 500. Their OPS are both above 860. OPS plus, Devers 132, Vladdy 137. Vladdy was a 166 OPS plus in a big time bounce back year. They both won a couple silver sluggers. Like this is your next Ortiz Manny right there. Like it's almost carbon copy. Now, those great teams with Ortiz and Ramirez did have other pieces that this Red Sox team doesn't have yet, but that is a scary thought of those guys batting 3-4. And honestly, I don't follow Vlad as much every day as I do with Devers to say this definitively, but I think this is true. He hasn't played his best baseball yet. He's just entering into his prime. And I certainly feel that way about Devers. I don't think Devers has had his best years yet. Because I'll give it a straight up comparison to Ortiz. Even after the 04-07 World Series championships, Ortiz was still evolving into an even more professional hitter, right? Like he was the last couple years of his career just as tough and out as he had ever been. Couldn't run the bases like he could before, but he was a very selective hitter and very, very tough out. I think Devers is still becoming that. And just from Guerrero's numbers, it certainly looks like he's becoming that as well. But it's tough to argue how much of a bounce back season that Guerrero had in 2024 and how he's becoming a more complete hitter, not just a TTO guy. But the stats that matter, I'm just looking at his just red ass baseball savant page. I mean, in the 97th or plus percentile in batting run value, xWOBA, expected batting average, expected slugging, average exit velo, bat speed is still in the 95th percentile, hard hits in the 97th percentile. Like this guy is red as a blood when it comes to his baseball savant page. Like this is a guy you want to have in the lineup. And his OPS went up. I mean, we talk about the kind of down 2022, 2023. His OPS went up 150 points from 23 to 24. And I know we don't care much about batting average anymore, but it is still a mark of a guy who's maturing as a hitter. 274 in 22, 264 in 2023 to 323 in 24. He had 200 hits, 199 hits in this past year. And like that is still something in terms of how you see a guy maturing as a hitter. And his OPS plus, again, 166. I think the Red Sox are bullshitting us because they're throwing up a ton of smoke like they always do these days. But like 10, 15 years ago, I would have been all over this because I would have been like, yeah, the Red Sox are going to wait to make this happen. In fact, we saw it as recently as JD Martinez, man. There was all kinds of hype for them to get JD Martinez in 2017 at the trade deadline when Arizona got him and he had a tremendous second half of the year. But there was that belief that they were going to go and sign him in free agency. There was that momentum throughout the whole season when that 2017 team could not get the big hit and did not have the big masher after Ortiz left. You said they're going to go out and get JD Martinez. And they did. And he was putting up near triple crown numbers in 2018. If they can get back to that mentality and actually go out there and spend $500 million, $450 million, whatever it's going to be to get Vlad Guerrero Jr., I'm there for it. Manny Ramirez incarnate. I'm here for it. Get Ortiz and Manny back in the middle of this order. and let's start winning some championships.
We are Rogue Media Sports.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. And if you like this video, be sure to give us a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a ton. You can follow me on Twitter here for some more outrageous Boston sports takes coming to you every weekday at noon Eastern time. And then after that, wherever you get your podcasts.
We are Rogue Media Sports.